I'm delighted to introduce to you the fabulous Sara Lombardo, to whom I'm passing on my heirloom jewelry.
So the first question is, why me? Perhaps because Eugenie and I, we both share the same urgency towards a more inclusive environment.
3 things about women in science I want to change. Boy, I don't think there's anything that I want to change about women in science. I think women in science are fantastic.
It is the environment, everything else that needs changing. And this is certainly not a women's problem.
Why do I think Ruth has nominated me for the award? I really have no idea. I realise that's a stereotypically female answer, but in this case it really happens to be the truth. So I look forward to hearing what Ruth has to say.
Something I particularly appreciate about Rianne is that if you go to her with a tricky problem, then she really thinks hard about it and typically comes up with some clever solution that you never would have thought of yourself.
I've chosen to pass the award on to Sue Sentence, because she's been doing some excellent work in looking at how children learn computer science, how we teach computer science, and also diversity in computer science education.
I'd like to see more focus on education across the whole scientific field, as discipline-based education research seems to hold the lowest status of all scientific research.
The main challenge is not so much the research areas as the leadership roles that these female scientists may play in those areas.
I chose Rianne because her research combines mathematical rigor with important practical applications. She brings together classical statistics and the ability to solve problems from a variety of disciplines.
It was a complete surprise. Perhaps she saw that my diverse activities in teaching and research should be recognized more.
I may want the lights to switch on when I get to the front door, but I certainly don't want to be standing on the doorstep in the rain while the software switches on the burglar alarm instead. Professor Yoshida has developed important theoretical ideas that underpin the development of software that correctly interacts with other systems.
The reason why Ursula has chosen me is, I guess, she has been observing how I overcame several personal and professional difficulties and grew my research team as well as a scientific community of my research areas.
Why did you choose Apala as a recipient of this award?
I chose Apala because she demonstrates the heights to which you can take strong, mathematically based interdisciplinary science.
If girls and school children, they were encouraged to think outside the box, if they were encouraged to take more risks, I think that would help attract more people to the field and also help retain more people in the field, because there is a certain element of risk and uncertainty in research.
First of all, thank you, Daniela, for nominating me. How have you managed to remain so positive and so generous in a world that is increasingly more cynical, as I'm sure you have experienced lately?
What would I change about women in science? I would try to make women realize that the career in science is within reach. I'm not quite sure how to go about it.
Microaggressions and small misogynist behaviours make it a constant battle sometimes to be a woman in science, and I would like that to stop so that we could focus on our passion, which is the science itself.
My research career has some similarities to that of Jane's, and we both share a passion to increase diversity in computing. Along the years, Jane has been an inspiration, so I'm really honoured to have been nominated by her.
The thing about women in science I would like to change is just more. More of us, in more institutions, in more roles. Because the expectation to be a woman in science should be as normal as the expectation to be a man in science.
I would like to see much greater recognition of women in science in the past. So that is starting to happen, but very, very little, and I think there's a whole lot more that can be done.
One of the new exciting areas is what I'm calling and others humane AI. This refers to thinking about how we can design future AI technologies that can augment people and empower them rather than replace them.
Now, in 2008, she co-wrote a paper on Being Human, HCI in the year 2020. Now, in this, one prediction was the always available culture that we have today, and the other is the growth of techno-dependency. Well, they were right about that.
The three things about women in science that I want to change are how they are valued by the rest of society, how they are perceived by the next generation, and finally, how many of them are black female professors.
One thing I'm looking forward to seeing change about women in mathematics is that when there is a gender balance, we will stop noticing women in mathematics. I would like to be just a person in mathematics.